Here it is, this large police presence. This hour, it's outside of a home near Evans and Brown's Line in Etobicoke. We're going to have a live update from CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, in moments.
Railway workers are threatening to disrupt freight and commuter traffic again with a new strike notice. We'll have the latest coming up tonight.
And the labor unrest in the railway industry means that we still don't know when GO train service will resume on the Milton line, impacting thousands of commuters right here in the GTA.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latifat. Thank you for joining us here on Live at 5. We are following a developing situation in South Etobicoke where there is a large police presence outside a home in the Evans Avenue and Browns Line area.
Okay, this is where CP24's crime analyst Steve Rod is standing by live. Steve, you were able to get a compelling interview from a neighbor, right?
Yeah, Bakari and Lena, I was able to speak with a neighbor when I arrived on scene here earlier on this afternoon, and this whole block was filled with onlookers. Everybody in this neighborhood here in Alderwood, they appear to know one another. So the information that I am going to pass on to our viewers does not come from the police. It comes from the neighbors here. The police media officer arrived on scene just a short time ago. I am told there will be an update, but when that update is going to be, we don't know as of yet. And I do believe that I just saw two homicide detectives show up as well off in a distance. Again, that could just be detectives from the 22 detective office, but I do believe they were homicide detectives. And I saw a forensic officer go into number 24. That's the side door that's open there. And that officer had on a decontamination suit, a mask, and was taking photographs. So this is certainly a crime scene of some sort. So these are my observations. Now I'll tell you what neighbors have said to me. They said that in that house lives a grandmother with her daughter and grandson. And the grandson is known in this area to suffer from mental health crises often. Many neighbors spoke about times when they saw this man in his 30s on the street here acting out in behaviors that had these people conclude here in this neighborhood that he was suffering from a mental health crisis. I am told that the grandmother and the daughter have not been heard from or seen in days. Neighbors typically see them out on the street. They haven't seen them in days. Another daughter in Barrie was so concerned about the well-being of her mom and her sister that she called a neighbor and asked the neighbor to check on them. Now, whether that neighbor was able to get inside that house or he just called the police, whatever happened, it has caused for a large police response to this area. The SWAT team, the ETF, the Emergency Task Force, they were on scene as well, as was the Police Dog Services. A witness who you're going to hear from in just a moment said to me that she saw the ETF go into the house. She said they threw something in that made a bang, could be a flashbang, which is often used by the ETF to cause a distraction. And then the ETF were able to get inside the house. She said after about 30 minutes, they came out of the house, but they had nobody in custody. She said, and they casually went back into their vehicles and they left and left the scene here for the divisional officers and for the detectives that are on scene right now. So clearly, nobody was in that house that had the police concerned for some sort of a threat to public safety. They left without anybody in custody. As far as where is that 33, 34-year-old man, we don't know right now. And the well-being of the grandmother and the daughter, we don't know that either. But it does appear that this is a crime scene right now as a result of the FIS officers going in there, particularly in that decontamination suit with masks on. And I could see them from a distance taking pictures as well. So we will get an update to learn exactly what did happen, but this is what I've seen here at the scene, and this is what neighbors have been telling me. Here is that witness, Heather, and she'll describe for you more of what she heard when she was on her walk on the street earlier today. Let's listen. Roughly what time did the SWAT team go into the house?
I would say between 1 and 1:30, and it didn't until about 2:30, even 3 o'clock. That the units started to leave. It was a SWAT team. They took all the devices out. They had drones. It looked like some kind of smoke bomb that they threw in there, but they had all left, but no one actually, they did not bring anybody out of the house.
So clearly, whatever went on in that house, there is no longer a threat, and this is why now the police are able to go in there and do their forensic examination. And I imagine that the detectives that are on scene right now, getting an update by some of the officers that were here before them, they'll go in that house as well at some point in time. So clearly, guys, this suggests or tells us that there is no threat in there, and whatever threat was in there, if any, it no longer exists. we'll wait for an update from the police. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Steve Ryan reporting live tonight. Steve, thanks so much for this.
Well, police are investigating an alleged attempted kidnapping of a woman at Vaughan Mills Mall this afternoon. In a post on social media, York police say they received multiple calls about the incident around noon. According to police, the victim managed to escape the assailant and suffered minor injuries. Investigators say they believe that was a targeted incident. There's no threat to public safety. And police are now looking for at least 4 suspects dressed in black. They're also seeking a blue Honda Civic with the license plate Alpha X-Ray Juliet November 850. And police say that the vehicle was stolen out of Toronto. So anyone with information or video of the incident, you are asked to come forward.
Well, police are looking to identify 4 people tonight. This after an arson was caught on camera in Liberty Village. Take a look at this. This happened just before 4 a.m. on August 14th near East Liberty Street and Hannah Avenue. A security camera captured the moment one of the suspects smashed a storefront window and then, alongside 2 other suspects, threw Molotov cocktails inside, setting that store on fire. No injuries were reported.
I felt like, oh, the whole studio is gonna burn down. Like, I didn't know what to expect once I arrived. When I arrived, it wasn't as bad as I thought. The firemen have already put the fire down, and the police was taping the perimeter. And then the first thing they asked me is like, do you have any enemies? And that was quite shocking. I'm like, no, that I know. Why? It's like, well, there were Molotov cocktails thrown through the windows. You were targeted.
All 3 suspects caught on video throwing Molotov cocktails were last seen wearing all black clothing. Police are also looking for a man who was in the area on a bike. Investigators believe he was acting as a lookout. He was last seen wearing a dark blue hoodie, black face mask, black pants, black shoes, blue gloves, and was carrying a red gym bag.
Well, Hamilton police are looking for 3 suspects after a car was stolen and a home invasion in Ancaster. This happened around 4 o'clock in the morning yesterday at a residence on Jerseyville Road East. Police say 3 suspects allegedly smashed the glass with a rock and then unlocked the door to gain entry. Then the suspects demanded the homeowner to give them his car keys. A stolen vehicle is described as a 2-door 2014 Rolls-Royce Wrath with a license plate of Charlie Hotel Foxtrot Tango 636. So anyone with information, you have to come forward.
Well, a portion of Highway 401 in Scarborough has reopened after a trailer truck caught fire this afternoon. Footage from Chopper 24 shows the aftermath of the truck fire. It happened around 1 o'clock on the westbound express lanes near Collins Road. Luckily, no one was injured here. You're looking at images coming to us from Chopper 24 earlier in the day. The cause of that fire under investigation tonight.
Right now it's 5:08, 26 degrees, feeling like 29 outside. It's time for a check on the roads and traffic specialist Adjua Interior Broad. Adj, when I came into work this morning, you know, the traffic wasn't that bad. How about going home?
Well, you know what? This morning it wasn't bad at all because, you know, everybody's out right now. So it's very, very busy on the major routes. And when there's a lot of traffic, there's always a lot of problems. There's some major problems happening, Lena Bakari, on the eastbound lanes of the 401. This is right at Kennedy. It looks like cars are weaving around. So it's a single lane getting by following this multi-vehicle collision with 3 vehicles involved. So they're doing the work to clear this for you. So trying to start your weekend right. It's going to take you a little while if you're stuck in this. And then on the 401 westbound, ongoing issues in the Express. The Port Union left lane out with a collision further west on the 401 on the approach to Morningside. It's been there since the early afternoon. Cleanup of a truck fire obviously out now. Then West 401 problems actually have cleared. Just past the 400 was a collision in the right lane, and just checking out problems that also cleared, actually, unless they moved the camera. On the Niagara lanes of the QEW approaching Burloak, we were dealing with the vehicle fire cleanup. It looks like everything cleared through here, so at least that's a bit of good news. I'll send it back to you.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Adjua, thanks so much for that. A 22-year-old from Brampton is dead following a collision on the 401 last night. It happened near Pearson Airport.
Emergency crews did respond to the westbound lanes of the highway west of Renforth just before 8:30 in the evening. A single vehicle had crashed into a light pole in the grass median. The driver was pronounced dead right there at the scene. The highway was closed for several hours for the investigation.
Police have released an image of a suspect wanted in a suspected hate-motivated threat tonight.
Yeah, police say that the suspect was on the Line 2 subway last Tuesday around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when the victim boarded at High Park Station. The suspect began yelling at the victim and reportedly made several anti-Semitic threats and threats of bodily harm. The suspect is described as being approximately 35 years old, 6'2", 180 pounds, with a shaved head, short beard, and mustache. He was wearing a light purple dress shirt, a purple tie, a dark vest, dark pants, and black dress shoes, and had a husky-type dog with him on the train.
Waterloo police are investigating reports of a Nazi flag flying outside a Kitchener home. Photos shared with CTV News show the flag at the home on Sterling Avenue South. Police say offensive expression rooted in hate has no place in the region. Members of the Police Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Unit spoke with people in the community impacted by the flag.
Well, the brother-in-law of a Toronto man who was killed in a swarming attack 2 years ago delivered a victim impact statement at a sentencing hearing today. So Eric Shum told the court that his family is still reeling from their loss. Kenneth Lee died after being swarmed and stabbed in December of 2022. 8 girls between the ages of 13 and 16 were arrested shortly after. 3 of the teens pleaded guilty to manslaughter. A 4th pleaded guilty to assault with a weapon. The 4 other accused, they're set to stand trial next year.
Rail workers at Canada's 2 biggest railways are pushing back against the federal government's move to get them back on the job. Okay,
for more on this story, return to CP24's Lindsay Biscaya. Okay, Lindsay, this is happening all over the country. We're talking about billions of dollars in products and goods, as well as people's lives trying to get to and from work.
Yeah, exactly. And now Teamsters has issued a new strike notice. This one's 72 hours. It looks as though maybe in retaliation to the federal government issuing binding arbitration, trying to get these workers back to work. But this new strike could happen as soon as Monday if there's no kind of negotiation or deal made between now and then. Now, the president of Teamsters Canada was actually joining picketers who were rallying in Calgary this morning to speak a little bit more about this move. Because at CN this morning, there were a couple of cars that were really coming back to work, a few people trickling in. But things are changing rapidly. Things continue to change. And the president of Teamsters Canada says the federal government issuing that binding arbitration is unacceptable. Have a listen.
Our people understand the importance of sticking together, and we will stick together and we will fight this company. So it represents a big challenge, obviously. It's a challenge for us. It's a challenge for the Canadian population. We understand there's going to be consequences, but the strike is a strike, and a lockout is a lockout. And keep in mind, the reason why we are here first is because they decided to put us on the street.
On the flip side of things, though, we have heard from CN Rail today, who is accusing the union of playing games, saying that it's holding the country hostage with this. Here's more.
They asked us on the very first page of their offers, after telling everybody that this was entirely about safety and work rest rules. The first thing was they wanted more money. The second thing, they wanted benefits for life. They wanted $200 a day of allowances for their employees, and they wanted to have signing bonuses of several thousands of dollars. The reality of it is that that's just simply not acceptable. We tried to get a deal. We tried to work with them. They weren't interested in it, and what we're seeing today is further proof of that.
So at this point, still not clear when exactly work could resume again. Lena and Bakari, we do know that the union said it is prepared to plead its case in a federal court if necessary. So still a lot to kind of work out here. Back to you.
Yeah, things could get messy. Lindsay Biscaya live in studio tonight. Thanks, Lindsay.
Yeah, and the labor railway action, it has impacted some GO train riders for a second day.
Yeah, trains are still not operating on the Milton line, which uses Canadian Pacific Kansas City tracks. And the Hamilton GO station is closed because it is on a CPKC line. It left commuters looking for another way to get to work today.
It has slightly become difficult for us because since we have to reach office by 9:30, but since most of us are working from home and since today is Friday, so it's a little bit easy today. But yeah, it has added maybe 30 minutes to our commute time.
It's not convenient, I mean, obviously, but you adapt. What are you going to do, right?
And it's not known when the Milton GO line and Hamilton station will be back in service.
Right now it's 5:15, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, the province is starting the process to widen Highway 401 in Oshawa. We'll tell you more about that. Welcome back. The Ford government says it's taken a step toward expanding the 401.
Yeah, the province is replacing the Wilson Road overpass in Oshawa. It says that the project will lay the groundwork to widen the highway. Crews are installing taller light poles, upgrades to the noise barrier, and new pedestrian sidewalks. The government says that the work is necessary to relieve gridlock and improve the movement of goods across the region.
The Wilson Road overpass is just one of many projects, and our government is investing in more than $138 million in total to fight gridlock in Durham. We will also be replacing the Simcoe Street and Albert Street underpasses in Oshawa, rehabilitating 2 overwater bridges between Bowmanville and Clarington, and rehabilitating the Highway 35-115 interchange west of Bowmanville and the Westney Road overpass on Highway 410 in Ajax.
The province has about 120,000 vehicles and 10,000 trucks carrying $380 million worth of goods. They all use the eastern corridor of the 401 every day. Well, federal health officials say that there have been no new Listeria cases in 2 weeks related to that plant-based milk outbreak.
Yeah, officials are being cautiously optimistic about this. The Public Health Agency of Canada says the outbreak appears to be slowing down, but they're not going to be comfortable declaring it over until early October. So they're waiting for the fall. They need more data. There have been 20 confirmed illnesses in 4 provinces and 3 deaths right here in Ontario. A national recall of several silk and great value plant-based milks that was announced on July 8th. It was traced back to a third-party beverage packaging facility in Pickering. And nicotine pouches will only be available behind pharmacy counters starting next week.
The federal health minister plans to order the pouches only be sold in pharmacies and ban all flavors other than mint or menthol. Mark Holland says flavors like berry frost or tropical breeze will be recalled. The order will also put limits on the labels and advertising of all nicotine replacement therapies like gums and lozenges.
It's 5:19 now, 25 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
And coming up, Starbucks is coming under fire for the major perk that it's giving to the new CEO.
Welcome back. The search is on for residents of a Missouri home after it was leveled by an explosion.
Yeah, the house was blown apart in the blast that was so strong it blew the doors off nearby homes. It's not yet known if residents were inside at the time, but emergency crews did find a deceased dog in the rubble. Investigators say that so far it appears that the explosion was a tragic accident and not a case of foul play.
A volcano in southwestern Iceland, it's erupting again. A nearly 4-kilometer fissure opened up on the peninsula, oozing glowing hot lava and plumes of smoke. The lava was not flowing toward the nearby Grindavik fishing town, whose nearly 4,000 residents have mostly been evacuated since November. This volcanic system has no central crater, but erupts by opening giant cracks in the ground.
Starbucks is coming under fire for the major perk it's giving to the new CEO. Brian Niccol has taken over the top job, but he's not going to have to relocate from his home in California to Seattle. Instead, Starbucks is providing him with a private jet so that he can make the 1,600-kilometer commute every week. That's drawing the ire of some environmental groups who say that the plan conflicts with Starbucks' efforts to position itself as an eco-friendly business. The private jet goes along with Niccol's $1.6 million base salary and his $10 million signing bonus.
It's now 5:22. We're sitting at 25 degrees tonight. You're watching Live at 5.
And coming up, we're going to go live to Fan Expo Canada at the
there's
Metro Toronto Convention Center, where Sija Liu is using a lightsaber over there. Hey, Sija.
She's very good. We'll be right back. All right, the next few days are going to be fun because Fan Expo Canada is back in town this weekend.
And that's where we'll find CP24, Sija Liu. This is all happening at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. Sija, I see you still have your saber. How are your skills?
Me and the saber are one now. We are one person. Don't mess with me here. But you can't talk about Fan Expo without talking about Star Wars. And you also have the chance to take home your very own saber. Joining me now is Matthew, the owner of Saber X. Matthew, first off, tell me, how does this work? We've seen it in movies, but it's in real life right now.
Sure. So just with a quick gesture, you're able to ignite your saber. With the same gesture, you can also change colors as well.
And you were telling me these aren't fragile, because when I picked it up, it felt like glass, but you can hit pretty hard.
They're rock solid. I've given it the test of even driving it over with my truck. It's incredibly solid. They're rated for full dueling.
So awesome. And tell me a bit about what inspired you to start the business. What's the backstory here?
So a few years ago, when I was shopping personally for a saber, I found that there was a lot of holes in the market. Anything that you could get that was decent enough quality or that you could trust the brand, essentially, it was going to be a fortune. You were going to spend well over $1,000. And I wanted to bring something to the market that was affordable for the majority. So our sabers started at $100, and I wanted to make sure that it was accessible to everybody. So that's why we started doing shows like Fan Expo.
And you have been so busy here with people lining up, and I feel like you get to be a big kid at your job, but how do you feel like, your customers feel when they hold one of these sabers, they get to fight with it?
I wish you could watch the actual interaction happen, because the amount of times that we give somebody a saber and it gets in their hands and their face just lights up. It's like it takes them to being a big kid again, whether it's a young kid or somebody who's grown up with Star Wars. It just blows their mind. It's fantastic.
So much fun. Well, we have to try these out, right? Let's go. So much fun. Well, you got to get down here. This is just day one of Fan Expo, but 4 days left, Bakari, Lena, and you should come try one of these sabers. Back to you.
So, Sija, I also have to ask you if you're familiar with the movie Spaceballs, which is a spoof of, Star Wars. And then there's this funny joke about lightsabers and the Schwartz and all that stuff. Okay, never mind.
I haven't seen it, but great work, Sija. I'm assuming you haven't seen it either. Sorry, Bakari, no dice.
Nope, haven't seen it, but we'll know by the end of this Fan Expo.
All right, well, moving on. It's 5:28, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, we are live near Browns Line and Evan Avenue, where there is a large police presence outside a home. We're going to get a live update from the scene coming up. A large police presence this hour outside a home near Evans and Browns Line in Etobicoke. We'll get a live update from the scene in just moments.
And railway workers are threatening to disrupt freight and commuter traffic again with a new strike notice.
And this labor unrest in the railway industry means we still don't know when GO train service will resume on the Milton line, impacting thousands of commuters in the GTA.
And thousands of people are heading to Fan Expo Canada at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre this weekend.
You're watching Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latifat. Thank you for joining us. We are following a developing situation in South Etobicoke, where there is a large police presence outside a home in the Evans Avenue and Browns Line area.
Let's go live to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve, what all can you tell us so far?
Well, the address is 24 Silvercrest, as Alina just said. It's in the Browns Line and Evans Avenue in South Etobicoke. We are getting an update from homicide at 6 o'clock, so that's very telling in and of itself as to what may have gone on inside of this house here at number 24. As far as a police update, Bakari and Lena, we haven't given anything. This is a brand new occurrence for all intents and purposes. It came across the police radio just before 1 o'clock this afternoon. But what I can tell you, I got from many of the neighbors on this street who know the family at number 24 very well. And they tell me that in that house lived a 81-year-old grandmother with her daughter and her daughter's son, who is believed to be 33 or 34 years old. The son is known on this street as being a person who has, in the past, suffered from many mental health crises. He has, in fact, had concerns, or caused many of these neighbors to have concerns over the last few months as a result of what they describe as his behavior on the streets. The mom and the grandmother haven't been seen by neighbors on the street in many days. I'm also told that another daughter up in Barrie, or north of Barrie, was so concerned about her mom and her sister that she called a neighbor at number 26 and asked that neighbor to check on them. Now, whether that man was able to get inside the house or he just called the police, we don't know at this time. But whatever happened inside the house has caused a tremendous police presence. It also brought the ETF here, the SWAT team, and they often go into situations, or they do go into situations, they're highly trained to go into situations whereby there may be a threat on the other side of a door. A witness described to me seeing what sounds to me like a flashbang, and that's done oftentimes when the police are going to breach a door, like the ETF. They'll send in this device that just makes a big loud noise, and it's done to distract who's ever on the other side. Then this witness heard the police giving commands to somebody inside the house, and she said after 30 minutes of being in the house, the ETF cleared, but there was nobody in custody. The ETF left. So obviously there is no threat inside the house, and now the forensics team, they're inside with their decontamination suits on and masks, taking pictures and cataloging everything that's going on in the house, and we are waiting for an update from homicide again, which will come at the 6 p.m. Here is more from this witness, or this resident, who was on a walk when she saw all this commotion taking place. Let's hear what she said.
When we were walking by, they were trying to enter the house. They were giving him a warning that they wanted to come in the house. When they did enter, they did say, drop the weapon, multiple times. We did not see anybody come out of the house. And yeah, I don't know, but it's scary. It really is, because they're a lovely family.
So one of two things I think we can draw a conclusion based on just what this witness heard and saw. They didn't come out with anybody. So either the person who they suspected had a weapon wasn't there, or the person who they suspected had a weapon was no longer a threat and perhaps was not even alive. And this is why they left the house and were satisfied that, in fact, it was clear and there was no threat to public safety. So that's the update we're going to get from homicide at 6 p.m. with regards to what I just shared with you, and I'm sure they'll confirm many of the details as to what neighbors have been telling me throughout the afternoon. I'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan, live in Etobicoke.
Well, police are investigating an alleged attempted kidnapping of a woman at Vaughan Mills Mall this afternoon. In a post on social media, York Regional Police say they received multiple calls about the incident at around noon. According to police, the victim managed to escape the assailants and suffered minor injuries. Investigators say they believe that was a targeted incident and there is no threat to public safety. Police are now looking for at least 4 suspects dressed in black. They're also seeking a blue Honda Civic with license plate AXJN 850. Police say the vehicle was stolen out of Toronto. Anybody with information or video of the incident is asked to come forward.
And police are looking to identify 4 people after arson was caught on camera in Liberty Village. So this happened just before 4 o'clock in the morning, August 14th, near East Liberty Street and Hannah Avenue. A security camera captured the moment when one of the suspects smashed a storefront window and then, alongside 2 other suspects, threw Molotov cocktails inside, setting the store on fire. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Our studio we have a reputation for doing business respectfully. We have plenty of good reviews and testimonials from our clients stating how good of a shop we are and how we take really good customer service. We take very seriously our customer service. Our artists are top of the line. Every artist and every part of the team is an honest, hardworking, professional individual. I handpick everybody that works in here to represent the brand.
Well, all 3 suspects caught on video throwing Molotov cocktails were last seen wearing all black clothing. Police are also looking for a man who was in the area on a bicycle. Investigations believe that he was acting as a lookout. He was last seen wearing a dark blue hoodie, a black face mask, black pants, black shoes, blue gloves, and was carrying a red gym bag.
Hamilton police are looking for 3 suspects after a car was stolen in a home invasion in Ancaster. It happened around 4 o'clock yesterday morning, at a residence on Jerseyville Road East. Police say 3 suspects allegedly smashed the glass with a rock and unlocked the door to gain entry. Then the suspects, they say, demanded the homeowner to give them his car keys. The stolen vehicle is described as a 2-door 2014 Rolls-Royce Wrath with license plate number number CHFT 636. Anybody with information, you're asked to get in touch.
Well, 2 people have been seriously injured in a collision in Aurora. Emergency crews were called to the Bathurst Street between Wellington and Kennedy just around 8:30 this morning. Both drivers were rushed to hospital following the incident. The cause of the crash, that's still being investigated. That stretch of Bathurst, it was closed after the collision, but it has since reopened.
And a portion of Highway 401 in Scarborough has reopened. This after a tractor-trailer caught fire this afternoon.
Look at this footage from CP24 showing the aftermath of the truck fire, which happened around 1 o'clock on the westbound express lanes near Collins Road. No one was hurt in the incident, and the cause is still being investigated.
It's 5:37, 25 degrees. Let's stay on the roads. Get a check on that drive home tonight. It's Friday. It's busy. A lot of people out and about, Adjoa.
They are, and it's going to take you a while if you're just trying to start your weekend right early, especially on the 401. We've got so many problems happening. You guys were just mentioning the transport truck fire from early this afternoon. Cleanup is still underway, still not getting an estimated time of reopening. It's the westbound 401 in the express approaching Morningside. 2 right lanes are blocked, but it does look like the truck is gone. So this is a good sign. Very busy, though, as you make your way through. And then traffic not moving eastbound 401 as you make your way from Dixie out to Kennedy. Because of a multi-vehicle collision in the collectors, it's only that single lane getting by. And 400, it's a busy go as well as you make your way through Vaughan and further north up into Barrie. Drivers trying to head home or maybe head towards their cottages. I'll send it back to you both.
All right, thanks a lot, Adj.
You're welcome.
Well, it's 5:38, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, the Teamsters Union has issued a 72-hour strike notice against Canadian National Railway. We're going to have more on the labor unrest coming up. Rail workers at Canada's 2 biggest railways, they are pushing back tonight against the federal government's move to get them back to work.
Let's bring in CP24's Lindsay Biscaya for the latest developments in this countrywide work stoppage. Lindsay.
Yeah, and the union representing those workers, Lena and Bakari, has now issued another strike notice, 72 hours. So it's possible that there could be a strike as soon as Monday for these railway workers. And it appears to be in retaliation for that move by the federal government yesterday, issuing binding arbitration, trying to get everyone back to work. We did hear from the president of Teamsters Canada today, speaking in Calgary, calling that move by the federal government yesterday uncalled for. Have a listen.
The Canadian Industrial Labour Board issued a decision 2 weeks ago that this is not essential services and there is no emergency. And this is why we were surprised with the minister's decision yesterday, because 2 weeks ago he said, well, no arbitration and no back to work. And then suddenly, within a couple of days, he's probably under pressure from the Chamber of Commerce, from the association everywhere. That he was pressed, and he got the pressure, and he made that decision suddenly that, okay, guys, we have to force you back to work.
What's interesting, too, is all the reaction we're getting from this. We did speak with former Labour Minister today, Lisa Raitt, who says this move by the federal government to kind of force workers back could actually backfire, and the federal government could find themselves in a bit of legal hot water. Have a listen.
The unions are probably going to argue 2 things: that the minister couldn't make the decision, didn't have the discretion to make the decision to send this to binding arbitration. And secondly, even if he had the ability to do it, it actually contravenes the charter because it's taking away the rights it takes away your rights to be able to go on strike as part of your fulsome collective bargaining. On the first one, the minister has to prove that he had enough evidence to make the decision. On the second one, which I think the government may be in an okay position on, quite frankly, you have to show that the impact on Canada is so significant that, of course, there's no right to strike here, and that the rights of 9,000 people going on strike are subordinated to the rights of Canada to have a functioning national economy.
And for its part, the union says it is prepared to plead its case in a federal court. So at this point, still waiting to see if anything changes between now and Monday. If nothing changes, then they will be in a legal strike. Lena, Bakari, back to you.
All eyes on this, Lindsay. Thanks so much for this. Now, this Labour Railway has impacted some GO train riders for a second day.
Trains are still not operating on the Milton line, which uses Canadian Pacific Kansas City tracks. And the Hamilton GO station is closed because it's on a CPKC line and left commuters looking for another way to get to work today.
Luckily, the people have arranged a good train for us, a bus service, shuttle service from Cooksville to here. So that's how we have come. Otherwise, we would have to go back home. So that's a very good part on the go.
It takes like a 2 and back from work. Like it takes extra like hour and 15 minutes or so. Yeah, we have to work with the workers. Like also they have their genuine demands, and hopefully the settlement comes sooner to their satisfaction.
It's not known when the Milton GO line and Hamilton station will be back in service.
Air Canada pilots could walk off the job next month, but talks are still expected to continue until Monday.
The Airline Pilots Association says 98% of its members voted in favor of a strike. The union's been negotiating with the airline since June of last year, with the talks being overseen by a conciliator. That process is set to wrap up at the start of next week, and it'll be followed by a 21-day cooling off period. That means the pilots could hit the picket lines as soon as September 17th. And travel expert Jennifer Weatherhead joined us earlier in the day with some tips ahead of a possible strike at Air Canada.
Be proactive. So we know that this is a possibility. So let's start looking at what your options could be for that backup plan. Air Canada often sends out messages, emails, and text messages if you have a flight. Let's say if there's a weather delay or they know there's going to be a delay or cancellation, and they'll say, hey, doesn't matter what kind of fare that you've booked, you can change your flight for no extra fee. Yeah. If you have that flexibility, jump on it as soon as possible, because that will give you more opportunities. It gives you more control over switching up those plans for yourself.
The union says there will be informational pickets at airports across the country on Tuesday. That includes Pearson. Colleagues from other airlines, they're expected to join as well.
An advocacy group is calling on Toronto's newest courthouse a billion-dollar accessibility bungle. This is after releasing a lengthy video showing what it says are various barriers throughout the building.
The tiles direct me on a bizarre route. They direct me into big security bollards. They should have built a straight, clearly defined sidewalk from the curb to the front door with cane-detectable edges.
And the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act Alliance points to various issues, including lack of parking near the courthouse, excessive glare, quiet elevator sounds, inaccurate braille signage, and too few accessible public washrooms. The Alliance says that the province is not following its own mandates and has written several letters outlining its concerns.
It's now 5:47, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, a second chance for actor Keanu Reeves to pursue a longtime dream. Well, a second chance for actor Keanu Reeves to pursue his one-time hockey dream.
Yeah, the Matrix actor signed a one-day contract with the Windsor Spitfires of the Ontario Hockey League. The team will be auctioning off all signed items by the actor, with the proceeds benefiting the Canadian Mental Health Association of Windsor, Essex. Reeves, who grew up in Toronto, tried out for the team as a goalie prospect when he was a teenager, but he couldn't play due to injury.
He was playing a lot of hockey at the time for MTHL North Toronto and for the DeLaSalle as well. And he was the starting goalie, and he just happened to get injured just before. And he had to make a decision whether he was going to come, training camp or go to New York and be an actor.
I think good thing he stuck to acting, but what a great day for our organization, and just a real good guy, a generous man.
Reeves was in Windsor for a show with his band, Dogstar. And the 165th King's Plate is taking place at Woodbine Racetrack this hour. This after it was rescheduled following Saturday's record-breaking rainfall.
The competitors are racing for the $1 million prize. Because of the postponement, Woodbine Entertainment, they offered free grandstand tickets today. Ontario's Lieutenant Governor is among those in attendance.
We generate those revenues and we put that back into purses to support the racing community. That's why we exist. And when we looked at the math, we felt that having a King's Plate to really create a real powerful Friday, combined with what we expect will already be a very solid Saturday, created the best combination of those 2 days.
I felt sorry for the poor drivers who had to run in a couple of rainy races. Overall, it was disappointing to miss the big race, but we're going to have it today.
It's an awesome opportunity, that's for sure. I've always grown up on the farm, and so I've never been out to the Woodbine racetrack before, and so it's a great opportunity.
Okay, and Lena, here's an interesting tidbit. So the King's Plate is the longest continuously run stakes race in North America.
Yeah, pretty special. 5:50 to 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, we're going to go live to Fan Expo Canada. It's happening at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. Fan Expo Canada is taking place this weekend.
Well, let's go live now to CP24's Sija Liu at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. Last time we chatted, you were checking out the lightsabers. What are you up to now, Sija?
Well, now I'm making some friends. A lot of the people that I've been speaking to say Fan Expo is all about family, the family that you get to see once a year where you have that shared passion when it comes to a certain show or a certain character. So I'd like to introduce you to some of my new friends. You might know them. This is April O'Neill. She's with Channel 6 News, but we'll forget about that today. This is Leo, of course. You might know him. So Leo, how are you doing today? I love your costume. Why did you decide to dress up as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Well, I know that these are big attention getters and they're always massive hits at cons. And I've cosplayed two of the other turtles before. I started with Raphael, who I've done 3 times already. And then I did Donatello 2 years ago. And now I'm doing Leo, and I'm hoping to do Michelangelo next year.
How much work went into this costume? I mean, you're dressed up from head to toe.
Right. Well, I didn't make any of this, unfortunately, because if I did, I would have made a business out of it and I wouldn't have to be looking for work. But to put it on and to be able to move around is already enough of a handful on its own. Like, it's a 2-person job just to get the thing on. And I have a hard enough time just walking around and sitting down in this thing. So I can only imagine how the stunt performers had it during the fight scenes in the original live-action films.
Love the dedication. And April, let me ask you, what is your favorite part about Fan Expo? You've been coming here for a decade now.
Yeah, I've been coming for 10 years. I love it just because I get to see all the cool cosplays and hang out with friends. And these guys I just met today, and they're pretty awesome, right, guys?
Who is your favorite turtle?
The pink one.
The pink one?
You mean Raphael, the one on your shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And what about you? Who's your favorite?
That one? Michelangelo? Oh, Leo? Yeah.
Well, as you can see, it's such a diverse crowd here. I mean, every sort of costume that you can imagine, young to old. People from all across the country are here. Over 100,000 fans will be here at the Toronto Metro Convention Centre all the way until Sunday. So you can come here costume or not. Bakari, Lena, back to you.
All right, so many interesting characters.
Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power. Yeah, that's part of the theme song, CJ. I used to watch it as a kid.
All right. Thanks so much, CJ.
She's just like, okay.
Let's take a look at some of the other events and festivals taking place around the city and the GTA this weekend. You want to do the honors?
Yeah, Dream in High Park is back for another weekend at the picturesque High Park Amphitheatre. This year, one of Canada's largest and longest-running outdoor professional theatre events. It's presenting Shakespeare's timeless masterpiece, Hamlet.
Well, Burrells Creek is hosting another festival this weekend celebrating pop punk and alternative music.
We've been to this venue as fans before, and when we heard that, you know, not only the lineup was what it was, but that it was going to be where they do Boots and Hearts, yeah, it was super special because I know what it feels like to be in the crowd watching that stage and to be up on that stage. That's, you know, that's all you can ask for.
Okay. Well, thousands are expected on the ground starting today for the All Your Friends Fest. 22 artists like Billy Talent, remember Billy Talent? The All-American Rejects, Fifi Dobson.
I remember Fifi Dobson.
I remember Fifi Dobson as well. Lights and Jimmy Eat World are scheduled to perform today and tomorrow. So we should check this out, Bakari.
Well, outdoor art, it's also taking over Yorkville this weekend. Yorkville Murals, it returns with a theme, No Empty Space. This Saturday and Sunday, visitors will be able to enjoy massive inflatable art sculptures, a block party, murals, TTC art installations, and a celebrity chef.
What's going on? It's 5:59, 25 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
A large police presence outside a home near Evans and Brown's Line in Etobicoke. We're expecting an update from police coming up.
Thanks so much for joining us. CTV News at 6 is next. Have a great weekend, everyone.